Rock grooves and make moves with all the mommies.
What?
The back of the club, sipping my weed is where you find me. The back of the club, macking holes, my crew's behind me.
What?
Mad question asking, blunt passing,
What?
asking, but I just can't quit because one of these honeys Biggie got the creep with, sleep with, keep the ep a secret. Why not? I blow up my spot because we both got hot. Now check it. I got my Captain Craig in the bed. Believe me, sweetie, I got enough to feed the needy. No need to be greedy. I got mad friends with guns and see notes by the layers. True fucking players. Jump in the rover and come over. Tell your friends jump in. I got the chronic by the tree. Throw your hands in the air if you's a true player.
Let's go.
To the honeys getting money.
Welcome to P.V.P. We're calling this the after hour. This is going to be another segment in the cut.
Cause I see some ladies tonight that should be having my
What we're going to do is rock the vibe for a little bit. Let's go.
Straight up, honey, really, I'm asking. Most of these niggas think.
Hey, we're going to allow this to play for a little bit. Get the video right. Get the sound and the details right.
Who you be with?
Who better than Biggie? Sit and play. Enjoy yourself for a little bit, and I'll be back on the other side.
At the ball around two.
Welcome.
So we can steam on the way to the telly. Go fill my belly.
Yes, sir. Make sure we get all technology right. As we said to you on P.V.P, this is my PSA by way I'm yours truly, Stephen Godfrey, the host. I am the host, and what we're doing is doing several PSAs leading up to our rollout. And part of this is opportunity for me to show you different segments, vibes that will then be different topic based. Some will be high energy, and all of them really will be high energy. But the notion is that we want to set the vibe right, set the tone. Tone will dictate environment, and we always want music in the background. We've got to have it. As anyone knows, that is part of the foundation to what I call artistic development. And in this space, as what I say to you in the past PSAs, is that our hope is to be just as efficient as mainstream media. I say mainstream media, but I think you get it. To be better. We want to do a lot of investigative journalism, bring integrity to the show, make sure that there's facts. We are excited because we've got a number of guests who are already inquiring and say, hey, we'd love to support what you're doing. We'd love to come on. It sounds easy, and we're preparing. So in that space, we think that it's extremely important that we continue to figure out different ways, different vibes, give you access to come in and be a part of what I call the show, right? Because as we said, the show is about a host of various topics, issues. They're always not driven by way of what I would call energy succulence, right? Which means that, you know, the heavy, continuous challenge that we got to participate in. And so what that says to me is share the diversity, right? Look at other areas, music, entertainment, promote those that are local and trying to get it, mention the Boston happenings. There's a whole host of things that we as P.V.P and the platform want to contribute outwards. But we also want to talk about truths. And I think the truths is extremely important and has to be part of the foundation in which the show is driven. The show is not, as I've said to you in the past, it's not a show that is based on what I call a report out. Report out institutions or shows of such. What they end up doing is sharing a more of kind of what's happening. We want that element and we salute those elements. But what we want to do is be able to also allow you to engage. And there's going to be a number of ways in which you can engage, right? And when I say that, it's going to be easy. There are going to be what I would say on any of your devices, everything's personalized to my show. So there should be something flashing on the bottom of you, on my bottom of me rather, and that should have some defiant URL computer that brings you right into the studio if we're doing this remote. And they both have privileges. One is a guest, the other is an an audience member. And in that space, you will as well have the capacity to engage. One gives you greater access to us that will allow you to then come on screen if a prompt. There will be obviously ground rules that P.V.P will establish before any of our guests are invited on that we can handle behind the scenes, and then make sure that in fact our content is appropriate for all age groups. Some will not be, and we want to make sure that by way of our commitments to being socially responsive, that if there is content that is not suited for those under, let's say, 16, I believe, we'll just disclose it and then make sure that we put, as a responsible broadcaster should of any kind, make sure that we put the blockers out there so that the young people can't have access to what I call harder topics. Now, in that, you know they're going to get access. Let's keep it 100. But I think it's, again, our responsibility as we bring the show forward is to make sure that we put all those elements in place so that, in fact, we've done our part. And if they get around it, they get around it. So listen, a lot happening, and we're going to come back on the other side, but I just wanted to drop a PSA. Ms. Fernandez, District City Councilor of District 7, as you know, has pleaded guilty. And there's a whole host of questions around that, and then has indicated that wants to be part of the transition. That's something interesting there that should be explored. P.V.P is going to do it for you. P.V.P is going to be that, what I call People's Voice Project, right? And what we want to do is look at things of such and in fact make sure that we evaluate it in such a way to give you, the viewers, the option to say, hey, guess what? When we elect, what courses of action are we going to take? Because I think it's extremely important that people understand that District 7, which is Roxbury, Massachusetts, so it's in Boston, it's a portion of historic, has a lot of the largest concentration and needs of minorities, African Americans, and particularly Hispanics, and then you move it forward, right? And what that says to me is that we have to ensure that the right person comes into place, because it's been heard, you know, there's been some past dealings with District 7 and the overall district, and we want to make sure that we get the right folk who's going to create equitable access for everybody, irregardless, because I want to be clear about something, right? When we do this evaluation, there are those that are suggesting, who sat on the teams of said city councilor, who feel that they're in the ideal role to dictate or participate of who should be part of. I think people got to understand that there's a credibility here, and it's called FICA score. So if you've been down with, I say ten cuidado, is what we would say in Spanish, be careful. Because I would argue that some of the other efforts, this is my own hypothesis, like every community, they talk. And so if we're sitting in spaces and places representing in such a way that it's going to hinder other efforts, you ain't that leader. And I think that got to be part of the evaluation. So again, what I want to say to folks is that this show is, again, based on the foundation that I was raised by way of community. We want to make sure that all communities that are going to touch this have an opportunity by way of show dedications, special guests, programmatic invitations where we go out and examine. Show will be done on the road, As we said, we're doing things, a lot of it is virtual until we get the studio in preparation, which is close to the deadline, coming up, weeks, promise. And so what we need to do is make sure we get all of our ducks in order, and so I want to continue to bring you these PSAs. And when I bring you the PSAs, I'm going to leave some stuff that I call brain food. So I talked about Hernandez. I think we should talk about the current elected races that are happening. There's a whole host of things. But my thought is to leave you with something that stimulates you to make you go further, do some research. So that when we come back on the other side, if you want to engage me, I invite you. And we may keep that internally, or it could be public. But as it's the host, I'll give you the disclosure. So again, folks, just want to say, have a great evening. Enjoy yourself. From P.V.P. and have a good night.